Mom, why doesn't Grandma hug me anymore? That question stopped me cold in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon. It came from my daughter, Lily, 7 years old, pink barrettes in her hair, legs swinging under the kitchen stool as she crunched a baby carrot. Her voice was light, curious, like she was asking about the weather. But to me, it felt like someone had cracked open a door I'd spent years bolting shut. I didn't answer right away. I just stared at her, then out the window, where the autumn wind was knocking gold and rust-colored leaves off the trees in our front yard. I heard the hum of the dishwasher, the ticking of the wall clock, the sound of something unraveling inside me. She was too young to know the truth. But maybe, just maybe, she was old enough to feel it. And maybe that was worse. The last time my mother hugged Lily, it was Easter, 2 years ago. Lily wore a yellow dress with tiny sunflowers, and she ran to my mom like she always did, arms wide, smile even wider. My mother bent down, opened her arms, and for 1 second, everything felt normal. But then she pulled away, fast, like Lily's skin had burned her. She mumbled something about needing to get the ham out of the oven, then disappeared into the kitchen, leaving Lily standing there with her arms still open and confusion spreading across her little face. I pretended not to notice. Pretended I hadn't seen the way my mother avoided eye contact the rest of the afternoon, or how she didn't sit next to Lily during the egg hunt, or how she left early, before dessert, which was unheard of for her. It was the moment I started counting. The missed hugs, the quick goodbyes, the way she stopped bringing gifts or calling to say happy birthday. I told myself it was aging, fatigue, her being distracted, but I knew better. Because that Easter, she hugged my husband goodbye. She hugged my older son, Jack. She even hugged the neighbor's kid who'd stopped by with a plate of deviled eggs. It was just Lily she pulled away from, just Lily she wouldn't touch. Back then, Lily didn't notice. Not really. She was 5. Her world was crayons and tea parties and bedtime stories. If she missed a hug here or there, she didn't say. But I noticed. Because the truth was, I'd seen that look in my mother's eyes before, when I was 11. We grew up in a small Pennsylvania town, the kind where everyone knew each other's business, or thought they did. My mom was a school librarian, always polished, always composed. My dad left when I was 6, and after that it was just me, her, and my younger brother, Noah. When Noah started having trouble in school, tantrums, trouble sleeping, fear of certain teachers, Mom said he was sensitive, that he'd grow out of it, that boys were just dramatic. He didn't grow out of it. When he was 15, Noah told me what had happened, who did it, and I told my mother. I still remember her face, blank, then tight, then cold. He's confused, she said. Don't feed into it. And that was the end of it. No cops, no therapy, no justice, just silence. Noah started staying out late, then not coming home at all. He dropped out, moved across the country, changed his number. The last time I saw him, I was pregnant with Lily. He didn't even look me in the eyes. I've carried the weight of that silence ever since. My mother and I never spoke of it again. But when she stopped hugging Lily, when I saw the same haunted distance in her eyes that I saw after Noah told me what happened, I felt a familiar chill crawl up my spine. And for the first time in years, I wondered if I had been wrong to let her stay in our lives at all. After Lily asked her question, "Why doesn't Grandma hug me anymore?" I brushed it off with a smile that felt like it didn't belong on my face. "She's just getting older, honey. Maybe she doesn't feel well sometimes." Lily nodded, but I could tell she wasn't satisfied. Kids don't need the full truth to know when something's off. They feel it. And Lily, she'd always been intuitive, quieter than Jack, more sensitive. She watched people closely, noticed small things, like how my voice got tight when I talked to my mother, or how Grandma would squeeze Jack's shoulders but barely pat Lily's back. That night, after the kids were asleep, I stood at the kitchen sink, staring into the dark backyard while the faucet ran. I didn't even realize the glass in my hand was overflowing. My husband, Ben, came up behind me. He didn't say anything, just turned the water off and handed me a towel. "I heard her ask," he said quietly. "Lily." I nodded, throat tight. "She's starting to notice." Ben sighed, leaning against the counter. "You ever think it's time we stop pretending?" "Pretending what?" I asked, though I already knew what he meant. "That your mom's still the kind of person who belongs in our kids' lives?" I didn't answer. I couldn't, because even though I'd asked myself that question 1,000 times, I didn't know what to do with the answer. A few days later, my mom called. She never FaceTimed, just audio, always brief. This time was no different. "How are the kids?" she asked, after a tight-lipped update about her garden and a new book she was reading. "They're good," I said. "Jack made the robotics team. Lily's reading chapter books now." There was a pause. Then she said, "Oh, that's nice." Not, "That's amazing." Not, "Tell them I'm proud." Just, "That's nice." I wanted to ask her why she never visited, why she sent gifts with no notes, why she never said Lily's name unless I brought it up first. But I didn't. Because I knew what would happen. She'd change the subject. Or worse, she'd act confused, hurt, like I was imagining it. It was the same cycle I'd lived through with Noah. And then, something strange happened. The next day, Lily came home from school with a drawing. Crayon lines, shaky but full of meaning. It showed a little girl with brown hair standing by a tall woman with gray hair. But there was a space between them. No smiles, just a big scribbled wall. "That's you and Grandma?" I asked gently. Lily nodded, pressing her lips together. "She used to hug me. Now she looks like she's scared of me." Those words hit me like a punch to the gut. Scared. She didn't say mean or mad or bored. She said scared, and suddenly, it clicked. The way my mom stiffened when Lily walked into a room. The nervous glance. The careful distance. It wasn't dislike, it was fear. That night, I pulled out an old photo album from the hall closet, one of the few things I'd kept from childhood. Pages and pages of birthdays, holidays, summers at the lake. Smiles. Sunshine. But then I turned to one photo and froze. It was my brother, Noah, at Lily's age, standing in front of the same swing set in my mom's backyard. Same eyes, same crooked smile, same nervous way of twisting his fingers in front of him. Lily wasn't just reminding my mother of the past, she was the past. A mirror of the boy she couldn't protect or wouldn't believe. And my mother couldn't look at Lily because she couldn't face what she'd done. Or what she hadn't done. Later that night, I sat beside Ben on the couch. The house was quiet. I handed him the photo. He studied it for a long time, then looked at me. "What do we do?" he asked. "I don't know," I whispered, "but I think it's time I stop protecting her and start protecting Lily. Because no child should ever feel unwanted by the people meant to love them the most. Especially not by someone who once turned her back on a child before. And now, I had to decide whether to confront the woman who raised me, or cut her out for good. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the photo of Noah and Lily burned into my thoughts. They looked so much alike. It was eerie. It wasn't just the eyes or the smile. It was something deeper. The same quiet energy. The same softness, and maybe the same danger. Not that they were dangerous, but they made her feel something she didn't want to feel. Guilt, shame, fear. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I called my mother and asked if I could come by. Just me, no kids, no husband, just a visit between mother and daughter. She agreed without hesitation, as if nothing was wrong, as if we were still two people who trusted each other. Her house was exactly the same. Neat, clean, smelling faintly of lemon polish and old books. the same cross-stitched quote above the mantel. Family is everything. I used to believe that. I used to look at that quote like it was scripture. Now it made my stomach turn. She met me in the kitchen, wore a pale blue sweater, her lipstick perfect, hair pinned like she was expecting company. "Coffee?" she asked. I nodded. She poured us both a cup, placed one gently in front of me, then sat across the table like this was just another afternoon chat. Like we'd talk about work or weather or how the kids were growing too fast. I didn't touch the coffee. "I need to ask you something," I said, keeping my voice calm. She looked up, eyes narrowing just slightly. "Why don't you hug Lily anymore?" She blinked. "What?" "She asked me a few days ago, said you don't hug her, said it feels like you're scared of her." My mother's face went still. Not shocked, just blank. "Don't be ridiculous," she said, reaching for her cup. "I'm not," I said, my voice sharper now. "She notices. I notice. Everyone does. I don't treat her any differently than the others. That's not true." I leaned forward. "You hug Jack. You ask about him. You bring him little gifts. But with Lily, there's distance, there's silence, and I want to know why." Her fingers tightened around the mug. Her gaze dropped to the table. "She reminds me of someone." I already knew the answer, but I needed to hear it. "Who?" She paused. Then finally, in a voice that barely rose above a whisper, "Noah." The name sat heavy in the air, like a storm cloud forming between us. "Why does that matter?" I asked. "Why would that change the way you treat her?" She didn't answer. I pressed on. "Is it because she looks like him? Is it because you can't face what happened to him?" My mother stood abruptly, pushing back her chair with a scrape. "I don't want to talk about this," she said. "It's the past." "No," I said, standing too. "It's not. It's here, right now, in how you treat my daughter, in the way you've pushed her away without giving her a reason." "She's fine," she snapped. "She has you. She doesn't need me." My heart pounded. She wants you, she loves you. She doesn't understand why you changed, why you pulled away. My mother turned away, facing the window. Her voice, when she spoke again, was low and tight. "Because I failed him." Silence. "I failed Noah," she said again, softer this time. "And when I look at Lily, I see his face. I remember how I didn't believe him, how I let it go, and I can't stand to look at her because it makes me feel everything I buried. I wanted to feel pity, sympathy, something. But all I felt was cold." "She's 7, I said. "She's innocent. She's not your guilt. She's not your punishment." My mother turned around. Her eyes were red, but dry. "I'm sorry," she said. "I don't know how to fix it." "You start by showing up," I said. "By not punishing my daughter for your silence." I stepped away from the table. "If you can't do that, then I don't know if there's room for you in her life, or mine." She didn't stop me as I walked out. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't call after me. Just stood there, a statue in a blue sweater, surrounded by all the warmth she never gave. That night, I tucked Lily into bed. She asked if I'd talked to Grandma. I nodded. I did. "Is she mad at me?" Lily whispered. I sat on the edge of her bed, brushing her hair back. "No, baby, she's not mad. She's just trying to figure some things out." Lily's eyes were heavy with sleep. "Will she ever hug me again?" I didn't have an answer, so I held her tight, tighter than I ever had, because I was starting to realize that sometimes the people who are supposed to protect us don't. And when they don't, someone else has to. 3 weeks passed. No calls, no texts, no surprise drop-ins. My mother had gone quiet again. At first, I told myself I didn't care, that maybe silence was better than pretending, that I didn't need her in my life if she couldn't show up for Lily, that we were better off without the shadows she carried. But some nights, I'd catch Lily standing by the window, peeking through the curtains, like she was waiting for someone to pull into the driveway. And I knew exactly who. One morning, a plain white envelope showed up in our mailbox. No return address. Just my name written in my mother's tight, slanted handwriting. Inside was a letter and a small, faded photograph. I stared at the picture first. 2 kids in a backyard, me and Noah. I was maybe 9, he was 7. We were standing in front of a birthday cake. He was grinning wide, chocolate frosting on his chin. I was beside him, arm slung across his shoulders. It was the same cake Lily had picked for her last birthday. Chocolate, with strawberry filling. I turned the photo over. My mother had written one thing on the back. I should have protected both of you. I unfolded the letter. Her words were neat but shaky, like her hand wasn't quite steady. It wasn't long, just 1 page, but I read it slowly, twice. She didn't explain. She didn't make excuses. She admitted to knowing more than she said all those years ago, that there had been signs, conversations overheard, drawings Noah left on the kitchen table, notes from teachers, things he'd written in his journal. She said she chose not to see it, because seeing it meant acknowledging something dark in someone close to them, someone who'd been part of our lives, someone she trusted. And trust, once broken like that, was terrifying. So she pretended it wasn't real. And Noah paid the price. So did I. So did Lily. She ended the letter by saying she didn't know if she could face Lily again. Not because she didn't love her, but because she didn't know how to look a child in the eye without seeing her own failure reflected back. I folded the letter, slipped it back into the envelope, and stared at it for a long time. I wanted to scream, to cry, to burn it. But I didn't. I put it in the drawer with Lily's artwork, next to her best big sister badge, because someday she might want to understand where she came from, and I didn't want to hide the truth, no matter how painful. Later that week, Lily got sick. Just a fever and a sore throat, but she was quiet and clingy, needing me close. I sat with her through the night, cool cloth on her forehead, holding her hand until her breathing slowed into sleep. In the dim light, I saw the photo again, Noah with frosting on his chin, and I felt the weight of everything I never got to say to him. We'd lost touch years ago. After I moved, after I got married, after I had kids, he drifted, and I let him. Not because I didn't care, but because I didn't know how to hold him and heal myself at the same time. That night, after Lily fell asleep, I found his number in an old email account. I hadn't dialed it in 5 years. My hands shook as I hit call. It rang twice. Then a voice, older, rougher, but still his. Noah? A pause. Yeah? It's me, I said. It's Rachel. Another pause. Then, hey. Just that one word, but it held more history than 1,000 others. I wanted to tell you, I read something. From her. Silence. She said she should have protected us. He gave a dry laugh. Bit late for that. Yeah, I whispered. But Lily's been asking about her, and I think she deserves to know you. If you ever want to. He was quiet for a long time. Then, I'd like that. I hung up, heart pounding, tears slipping down my cheeks. Because something had shifted. Maybe not fixed, not healed, but shifted. My mother might never come back into our lives the way I once hoped. She might always carry that guilt like a cloak she couldn't take off. But maybe Lily didn't need her to understand love, family, and forgiveness. Maybe she just needed the truth, and the people who wouldn't run from it. 2 weeks after I spoke to Noah, he came to visit. He didn't bring luggage, just a duffel bag and a half-wilted bouquet of daisies he'd picked up at a gas station. He looked older than I remembered, thinner, lines around his eyes, a streak of gray through his beard. But when I opened the door and saw him standing on my porch, something inside me loosened. Like a knot I hadn't realized had finally been untied. Lily peeked out from behind me, clutching a stuffed rabbit. Noah knelt down, carefully, like someone trying not to startle a wild animal. "Hey there," he said gently. "You must be Lily." She nodded, wide-eyed. "I'm your Uncle Noah," he said. "I've heard you like strawberry cake." Her eyes lit up just a little. "It's my favorite." "Mine too." That was all it took. By the end of the afternoon, they were on the living room floor drawing dinosaurs together. She gave him a pink marker and told him it was the best one. He made a purple triceratops with a crooked horn, and she laughed so hard she spilled juice on the rug. It was the first time I'd seen her laugh like that in weeks. And when I caught Noah looking at her, I could see it on his face, the ache of recognition. The same ache I'd felt when I looked at that photo of him as a child. She reminded him of himself, too. But where my mother had seen only shame, Noah saw something else, a second chance. That night, after Lily had gone to bed and the house had settled into quiet, Noah and I sat on the back porch. The air was cool. Crickets hummed in the distance. He was nursing a bottle of root beer, the kind we used to drink at the lake as kids. "She sent me a letter, too," he said after a long silence. My breath caught. "When?" "Same week she sent yours. I didn't open it right away. Thought it'd just be another apology with no teeth." "Was it?" He shrugged. "She said she believed me. Finally. Said she was sorry, that she should have done more." He didn't sound angry, just tired. I hesitated. "Do you believe her?" He looked up at the stars for a long time before answering. "I believe she wants to believe it. But believing now doesn't change what happened. Doesn't fix the years I lost." I nodded slowly. "She asked if she could meet Lily," he added. That made me freeze. "She said that to you?" "Yeah. Said she thought maybe. It wasn't too late." I stared out at the yard, heart heavy. "I don't know if I can let her back in," I said. "Not after everything. Not if she's going to bring more damage than healing." Noah was quiet for a moment. "She's not owed forgiveness," he said. "But if Lily's going to grow up strong, she needs to see that the people who love her will protect her. Always. Even when it's hard." I looked at him, blinking back tears. "That's what I'm trying to do." "You're doing it," he said. The next weekend, we held a small family picnic. Just us, Ben, the kids, and Noah. We grilled burgers. Lily and Jack chased fireflies. Noah helped her build a daisy crown and wore it like a king, even when Jack made fun of him. It was the first time in a long time that I felt peace in my own backyard. Then, just as the sky was turning pink with sunset, a car pulled into the driveway. My mother stepped out. She looked smaller than I remembered. Or maybe I was just seeing her differently now. She clutched another bouquet, this one fresher, fuller. Her hands trembled. Lily spotted her first. She looked at me, not afraid, just uncertain. I crouched beside her. "That's Grandma," I said softly. "You don't have to go to her, not unless you want to." Lily studied me for a long moment. Then, slowly, she walked across the yard. My mother knelt in the grass. "Hi, sweetheart," she said, voice cracking. "You've gotten so big." Lily didn't say anything. She just looked at her. Then, gently, she stepped forward and wrapped her arms around her. Not because she was told to, but because she chose to. My mother broke down. And I, standing a few steps behind, watching them, let go of the breath I didn't realize I'd been holding for years. Forgiveness isn't neat, it's not clean. It doesn't erase pain or rewrite history. But sometimes, forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing not to carry the weight alone anymore. It's about giving our children the healing we never got, and standing between them and the hurt we once lived through. I don't know what kind of relationship my mother and Lily will have. I don't know if the hurt will ever fully fade. But I do know this. When Lily asked, "Why doesn't Grandma hug me anymore?" I finally told her the truth. Not all of it at once, but the part she needed to know. That sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, big ones, but that doesn't mean we stop loving, or hoping, or trying to make things right. Because in the end, our children deserve more than just the truth. They deserve a future that's braver than our past,